Deji is one of the most interesting YouTube boxers. The story of him never giving up even after 3 defeats is genuinely inspiring to younger audiences. When he finally got his first win over Fousey on Misfits 1, it was one of the best YouTube boxing moments. He finally put the pieces together and fixed every mistake he made in his previous boxing matches. Deji's stamina was better, he was throwing more punches, and his footwork was also solid. Under the tutelage of Daily, he's transformed into a completely different fighter, and he's now considered a top 10 YouTube boxer. There's one question that remains about Deji. Who will he fight next? Deji and Daily have been training for a while now, and in the little videos that they've put out, Deji has evolved. It looks like they're trying to fix bad habits, like Deji's low hand placement, and also perfect certain shots like his lead hook. Focusing on these rather small traits about Deji's boxing will hopefully make a big impact whenever he fights again. I don't know if these little tweaks will actually translate in the ring, but we'll see. In the Mayweather fight, he was a little too patient, just like when he fought Alex Wassabi. To be fair, he was up against one of the slickest boxers of all time, so I doubt he'll carry this gun-shy mindset into his next fight. Speaking of his upcoming boxing match, there are quite a few opponents that would work for Deji. Bryce Hall is a name that immediately pops into my head. I think he'd be a good foil to Deji in the press conferences and the build-up leading up to the fight. On the Social Gloves events, he was more or less playing the heel character. It got everyone more invested into Bryce Hall versus Austin McBroom. I mean, that 40 Street Fights comment got the entire internet talking and making jokes. Besides the undercard featuring Deji and Gibb, Bryce Hall was the main guy pushing the events and creating those viral moments, so I think he'd work well against Deji. The press conferences would have a way more entertaining dynamic than Deji vs Alex Wassabi. There won't be any real bad blood between Deji and Bryce to get people invested, but there will be intrigue about how the fight plays out. With that in mind, the fight itself would be a good test for Deji without throwing him into deep waters just yet. Remember, Deji only won his first fight last August, and has been with Daily ever since, so you can't put Deji in there with a Salt Papi for example. He needs to build himself up properly, and if Bryce Hall has been training on and off after the Austin McBroom fight, I think Deji vs Bryce would be pretty fun to watch. The Deji vs Alex Wassabi rematch is also on the table, but due to logistics, I'm not sure if Alex will be Deji's next opponent. For one thing, Alex already has a fight lined up with iDubbbz, and Deji has stated that he wants to fight very soon, so it can't be Alex. If Deji fights Bryce Hall and wins, and if Alex beats iDubbbz, then I can totally see Deji vs Wassabi 2 happening in the middle of the year. That would be perfect to be honest, and we'd see the progression of both fighters and how they match up to each other after like a year and a half. There were mentions of a Deji vs Swarmz fight, and holy fuck, the build-up would be great. Stylistically, I personally have no idea how the fight would play out because we barely got to see Swarmz' boxing ability in the Ryan Taylor fight. Apparently Ryan and Deji are good friends, so Misfits could play up the revenge angle for Deji vs Swarmz. I mean, that storyline is a bit lame, I don't know, I'm not a promoter. Anyway, that fight is a giant mystery since we don't know how Swarmz or Deji for that matter would perform. What do you think about Deji's next opponent? Let me know and I'll see you later.